still in place. The track on which the train returns near the finish line, what is called the brake bracket area, shows signs of impact and deformation. Several horizontal track beams show signs of impact within approximately 25 feet of the damaged brake bracket. ODA is investigating the cause of how and when the plate disconnected from the ride and the damage that occurred to the track. The train has been sent to a laboratory to examine the bolts which remain in the train body, and ODA is awaiting a report from that testing laboratory. Everyone taking part of this news conference will receive a copy of the accident report.
Thank you, Dave. As we said, we will now take questions. Every media representative is allowed one question. We will give you a minute to put them in the chat box. So now is the time. If you would like to submit a question, please do to the right of your screen. If you don't see the chat box, if you simply click on the conversation bubbles, the double conversation bubbles with the question mark in the upper right hand of your screen, it should pop up. I am not seeing any questions yet, Dave, but we will give this a minute. Danny Eldridge has submitted a question. He's asking, can you talk about why this issue was missed during ODA's initial inspection?
I don't believe that this issue was missed during the initial inspection. This ride is a popular one and operates several has operated several cycles since the May 14th inspection. And so I don't believe that this was missed during the original ag inspection.
Thank you, Dave. The question, I'm not sure I understand this, Dave. I will say it out loud. Can the state order the removal of a ride?
I'm not quite sure if I understand the question. If the question is the physical removal of the ride, as in the physical dismantling of the ride, we would not have the authority to issue the removal in that sense. However, we are required to license and inspect every amusement ride in the state of Ohio. So should there be a ride which does not meet our regulations, we would simply not permit that ride.
Thank you, Dave. Here's another question. Approximately how fast was the train traveling at the time of the incident, and how far away was the woman from the track?
I don't have specific miles per hour data on that front, but it is towards the bottom of the track, so it is likely at the train's max velocity at that point. But I don't have specific miles per hour on that far, and I do not have a specific distance away from, as the investigation is still ongoing, we're not exactly sure where the piece dislodged officially. So I'm not able to provide exact distances on where the woman was approximately from the point of disconnect.
Thank you. And I please ask all of you to include your name. As we stated earlier, we are accepting one question from each media representative. Since we do have so many on today, I would hope that you would respect that and place your name when asking a question. When was the last full inspection of the ride leading up to the incident?
I can tell you that ODA's inspection occurred on, last inspection occurred on May 14th of 2021. And I do know that Cedar Point does pre-opening inspections on a daily basis.
Right. This isn't the first time this ride has had issues. Did any of the former problems have to do with this one?
With regard to the former problems, you know, that's I'm not exactly sure what those relate to. I know that this is the complicated ride, but I don't have any specific information on the former problems and how it may or may not relate to this situation.
Thank you, Dave. Is this a concern only for the top Thrill Dragster, or is there any concern to similar rides at Cedar Point or other amusement parks nationwide?
At this point in time, our investigation is solely focused on the Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. I'm not aware of any other similar rides in the country, but from an ODA's perspective, we're focused solely on in this investigation on the Top Thrill Dragster.
Thank you. Jim Robbins from The Blade would like to know, was the victim's family able to provide any information that helped with the investigation?
At this point, with regard to the family, none of the information, we have not received any information from the family that is pertinent to this investigation. We have a significant amount of data and records that can assist us in that situation, but we continue on our investigation, and should we need any information from the family, we could cooperate with them or coordinate that with them.
Dave, I believe you might have already answered this, but Justin Boggs is asking, how high up was the bracket from where it fell?
I don't know that information at this time.
Right. John Sewer is asking, can you explain more about the L-shaped piece and what its purpose is?
So the L-shaped piece is called a flag plate, a block reset, a block set. Essentially, it's a piece of metal which is attached to the back of the train, the coaster, on both sides, and it's a piece of metal which hovers over as it goes over the track sensors, and when the sensors pick up that piece of metal, it relays to the computer system to let the system know where the train is on the track.
All right, we have a question from Jonathan Walsh from WEWS. We've been hearing from a lot of viewers who are frustrated about the lack of transparency when accidents happen. They feel the reporting process shouldn't be left up to the park to decide to report if the injuries require less than the overnight hospital stay. Is it time for ODA to insist that the parks report all injuries, no matter the threshold, so customers can be well informed about breakdowns and injuries related to all rides they were about to go on?
With regard to that, I can tell you what the law states, and the law requires that accidents, which is this particular definition, be reported to ODA within a 24-hour time period. Right now, the law does not require that anything less than that be reported to ODA. I can say from history that oftentimes incidences which do not rise to the level of an accident are often reported to ODA. But as to the question, right now the law states that accidents are required to be reported.
Thank you, Dave. Adam from WSYX is asking, was there any danger to the riders on the train?
We have not received any reports of injuries to anybody on the train.
Okay. Susan Glazer is asking, was the bracket recovered? Where is it now? Can you speculate what might have caused it to come off?
I'd rather not speculate at this time, simply because the investigation is ongoing. Cedar Point is currently in possession of that L bracket, and we have numerous photographs and examined the piece ourselves here at ODA, but I won't speculate on the ongoing investigation.
Josh Love from WTOL. I'm not certain whether this is something to which ODA can speak, but there is video of a nurse talking about putting a collar on the injured woman. Do you know whether there's any investigation into the way paramedics handled the moments following the injury?
So ODA performs a ride investigation to figure out what happened and may have malfunctioned, if at all, with the ride itself. We don't investigate the emergency response or anything regards to the people involved.
Thank you, Dave. We have another question from January Keaton at WKYC. How often do injuries from flying debris happen with respect to amusement park rides at Cedar Point and or nationally, locally in Ohio? Any numbers would be appreciated. And Dave, I think you can explain that this isn't something some information we would just have. Yeah,
we don't track that information because it's before accidents are what is reported to the Department of Agriculture. So we don't have any data on that front.
Thank you, Dave. Lynn Ann Wojciewicz from the Norwalk Reflector Collector is asking, what pieces of evidence are you using as part of your investigation? Is there video? Are there witness statements? Will those be included in what you send today?
So as a part of any investigation, the Department of Agriculture collects a good bit of information, including those inspection documents, pre-opening inspections, witness statements, should there be any, and just various pieces of documentation that are vital to our investigation. And so what will be included today is the accident report that has been submitted to Cedar Point to ODA. As for those other documents, at this point in time, because the investigation is still ongoing, we are not releasing those documents at this time.
Thank you, Dave. We do not have any other questions at this time. Once again, if you have follow-up questions, a second question that you wanted to ask, you can always email me. My email address is shelby.croft@agra.ohio.gov. We did have a question as to how to spell David's name. It's David, common spelling, Myron, M-I-R-A-N, and he is Chief of the Amusement Ride Safety Division for the Ohio Department of Agriculture. And I think that probably concludes the press conference at this point. Once again, you may send us follow-up questions. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Dave.